Hello and welcome to Views on News. I am Jawad Tehami. A two-day international conference themed Decade of China-Pakistan Economic Corridor and Belt and Road Initiative from Vision to Reality was held in Islamabad to bring policymakers, scholars, practitioners and other stakeholders to exchange ideas and insights related to economic, social, environmental and geopolitical impacts of CPEC and BRI. This particular conference was organized by the Ministry of Planning, Development and Special Initiatives in collaboration with the Chinese Embassy in Pakistan. As this year marks the successful decade of BRI and CPEC, this conference also aimed to reflect upon the achievements, the challenges as well as the prospects of this project. Now, when specifically we talk about China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, it has effectively improved Pakistan's energy security as well as the transport infrastructure. When we talk about the revitalization of CPEC in the next phase, both the authorities from Pakistan and China have a strong resolve to advance cooperation in multiple fields, including agriculture, industry, science, technology, information technology, socio-economic development, as well as the people-to-people connectivity. In today's program, we'll be talking about the salient features of this particular conference that was held in Islamabad, as well as the dividends which are associated with the early completion of China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. We'll also take up for discussion the significance of special economic zones also, and the significance of Gwadar port for Pakistan in terms of regional connectivity. And to understand that, we are honored to have been joined in the studio by Mr. Hafiz Ahsaan Ahmed. He is senior analyst and expert of CPEC affairs. Mr. Ahsaan, thank you very much for your time, for being with us on Views on News tonight. We really appreciate that. We are also honored to have been joined in the studio by Mr. Khurram Shahzad. He is editor reporting associated with Urdu News. Mr. Khurram, thank you very much for your time, also for being with us on Views on News tonight. We really appreciate that. Now, let me begin the discussion with you, Mr. Ahsaan. You personally attended this particular conference for 2 days. Would you like to share with us the salient features of this particular conference that was held here?
Thank you so much, Jawad. First of all, I must congratulate the government of Pakistan, the CPEC Secretariat in the Ministry of Planning and the Chinese embassies. They have done a very tremendous job, and it was a 10 years decade celebration by the government of Pakistan and the Chinese embassy, the vision to the reality. But the most important thing is that the Pakistan and China as neighbors. Pakistan was the first among few countries who recognized China as an independent state, and since then we have been very cordial relationship with China. And the first project which was initiated by Pakistan and China, it was the Khurram. It was 7th wonder in the world. It was started in '58, and it was a good collaboration by the Chinese and the Pakistan FWO. Then Pakistan and China resolved our boundary disputes and air disputes in 1963. And from day onwards, the Pakistan and China have very good foreign relationship. We supported each other on international forums, and even the Pakistan opened the international foreign relation window for the China. And Pakistan was the first country as on the aviation side who introduced and started the PIA flights from Pakistan to the Beijing. And then this strategic relationship was continuing between Pakistan and China from 1947 to 1948 to onwards. And then they realized that there should be a relationship converting into the economic relationship. Credit all goes to the governments, because on the China, the people of Pakistan and whosoever in the government would be, they are on the one page. We have a very good relation. We consider that the China is a time-tested friend. The first initiative was from the strategic relation to, from the economic relationship. It is done by the General Musharraf's era. He invited the Deputy Prime Minister of China, and they inaugurated the Gwadar port in 2006. Then it keeps continuing. Then the credit goes to the President Zardari. He visited number of visits to the China, And then the credit goes to the former Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif, and the first MOU, the formal MOU was signed on the CPEC between Pakistan and China on 5th of July 2013, and then the Prime Minister visited the China. They undertake many projects over there, and finally, the president of Xi Jinping from the China, they came to Pakistan in 2015, and we signed 51 agreements. Basically, initially the idea was conceived for the $45 billion dollars project. Then it keeps continuing from the 45 to 62, ranging over different areas from the infrastructure, energy. Then it keeps on the agriculture side. Primarily, it is focusing on to improve the regional connectivity between Pakistan and Central Asian countries from the Gulf state, the Iran, and Pakistan has always been offering another countries in the region to come to the CPEC, because the CPEC is not an independent project. CPEC is a component of the BRI, an ambitious project of the China from connecting all over the world. So what I have been told in the conference that $25 billion have been spent on CPEC projects in Pakistan. More than 800 we have made the motorways in Pakistan, motorways and the highways. 8,000 megawatts have been increased in our electricity, and around 800 kilometers have been laid the optic fiber in Pakistan. So the first area, to the extent of the infrastructure, the energy, they have completed, and now they are entering into a second phase. The second phase would be the establishment of industries in the industrial zone, identified around 9 industrial zones, and 3-4 are on the last stage. So that area would definitely provided the employments around more than 192,000 people directly in Pakistan. It will, work to challenge the dollar issues in Pakistan. It will provide the jobs in Pakistan, and it will also provide the technicals or the transfer of technology in Pakistan. So precisely, it is a good conference. There was an impression that might be there is a delay.
So what I understand from this is we'll definitely take up this particular second phase of the revitalization phase of CPEC later on for discussion. What I basically understand that the first phase of CPEC has fared so far very well for both the countries, giving the dividends associated with already projects which have been completed when we talk about the energy sector as well as infrastructure and transport. Let me bring in Mr. Khurram also into the discussion. Mr. Khurram, as Mr. Ahsaan has very comprehensively shed light on the historical perspective of this particular projects, the Belt and Road Initiative, the flagship of which happens to be the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, quite a visionary, futuristic project conceived by Chinese President Xi Jinping. And of course, Pakistan being an iron brother of China happens to be holding that a very flagship project of CPEC, quite dividends associated with it. What's your understanding?
Yes, you're right. If you go through the previous 10 years, a decade passed here. I think this, considering CPEC, it was a decade of development. If we term it a decade of development, that won't be wrong. If you recall, when the CPEC was brought in, nobody was imagining that even if you take just 2 projects of this CPEC, like one this Hazara motorway, and the other one is this which is called CPEC route, which goes through Mianwali and onward to Balochistan. This is connected the whole of Pakistan, almost a major part of Pakistan. And as Mr. Ahsaan very rightly said, that around $25 billion have already been invested in Pakistan. This is the direct foreign investment in Pakistan. So it is a glorious era, and I think it's just a beginning. It's just a start, like the connectivity projects and then industrial zones, and as we have been witnessing since many years, that this CPEC project is attracting interest of other countries as well. So we can expect that one day it will turn to a really glorious regional project, and other countries will also join in. And I can see a bright future of not only Pakistan but this region as well, because it connects China to to the other world, and Pakistan is very well strategically located. So I think that the dream of connecting Pakistan to the entire world will come through this CPEC.
So CPEC in that sort of scenario has become an open and inclusive project, as we have seen the authorities of both the countries, China and Pakistan, also inviting the third parties also to join hands and become part of the CPEC. Now, Mr. Ahsaan, when we talk about laying the network of motorways, how crucial do you think a role it does play when it comes to the connectivity within the country and also connecting it with a region and beyond?
Jawad, for any prosperity of the country and for the prosperity of the region, it is more important. Three areas are more important. We must have a good HR, that is the basic criteria. Then we must have the infrastructure that we carry from one thing to another area. If you don't have the proper infrastructure, the roads or motorways, you can't move on. Even you don't have a good road in front of your house, you can't move from one place to another place. So the infrastructure is important. And the third is most important is the energy, because everything is run by the energy. If you want to establish some factories, you need to energy. And there was a big crisis in 2013, on it, that several hours of load shedding in Pakistan. And then the government took a very brilliant step, and they went on and they started energy projects in Pakistan. And now we have witnessed that there is no permanent load shedding in Pakistan. The fourth important area is for this is the industrialization, the industries, the special economic zones. So now the government and the Chinese who are working on it, they are working on this area on the phase 2. The phase 2 is to establish the industries in Pakistan, to technology, the agriculture and the area, because the first thing you have done it, you need to have the interconnect with one another country, then you need to have the good energy to provide if you want to establish some factories or some establishment over there. And then the third is that definitely the HR, that we need the professionals, we need the technical people. So now in this particular area, what I have witnessed from the conference is that there was some impression that there was a delay in some of the CPEC projects. Might be some people have made criticism on, but actually on the ground it is a good achievement by the CPEC authority, the Ministry of Planning, the Chinese. They have done it, and I have explained 4 or 5 areas where it is in 10 years.
So when we specifically talk about energy sector, the energy security, energy needs of Pakistan especially, I've got the list, the number of energy projects under the banner of CPEC, which have already been completed, around 16 that I've got the information from its website that's been stated over there. There's certain other energy related projects which are under construction. So that definitely played a crucial role in making Pakistan energy secure.
Definitely, Jawad, because if you go by 2030, and now at the moment we have a 240 million population, it would be amount doubled to 2050. And then definitely we have day by day having the increase in our energy. And if you go by the 230, you have the maximum, the energy security in the country. If you want to say something outside the Pakistan, you have a road show over there. First thing they will point out, do you have the infrastructure? Do you have the energy? Energy in both areas, the gas and the electricity, both are the components for the energy security. So the projects are going on, but the most important thing for us is to yield the results to a common man. The common man desires to have a better economic life over there, to have a job over there. So we need to focus on the second phase. What we have decided in 2015, the Memorandum of Understanding by the Prime Minister of Pakistan, we need to move on, and we need to move on in a way what we have decided for the by 2030, that this would be the phase, then this would be a situation, and this would be a picture of the CPEC, because this is a beginning. When we start on the BRA, it will continue from this to onwards. Now the China has pledged in another $10 billion for the rail connectivity. It is also another important for the cargo purposes, because you can't keep the cargo from the roads or trucks, and it's a very expensive. Now ML1 is also under consideration, and inshallah by the joint efforts of both the sides, it will also accomplish. So it will also provide a good way. Then there is oil and gas corridor for the China itself. See, the Saudi Arabia, they have also promised to invest a refinery in Pakistan. They are locating certain areas. So the China has also need another alternative road from they have already over there. It's a long, it's expensive. So China also wants that the CPEC projects relating to the infrastructure and relating to the rail corridors and relating to the oil corridors, they need to be accomplished at earliest. So at the moment it is very important that the government of Pakistan, because there is no issue at all. The people of Pakistan, we have one voice for the China, and the governments, whosoever would be, they have one voice for the China. So the important thing would be that we need to improve our house, we need to remove our obstacles on the governance side, on the practical side, and we provide a yield to a common man, which is a big beneficiary for the Pakistan.
Right. Mr. Khurram, when we look at this particular list of the completed energy projects under the banner of CPEC, it gives me an understanding there's quite a diverse mix of energy sources, including the hydropower, including the solar, as well as the coal power. So what's your understanding of that?
I think Pakistan is a country which needs huge energy projects, and we have huge demands for energy. So under the CPEC project, as Mr. Ahsaan very rightly already said that before the CPEC we had hours and hours of load shedding, but after the CPEC was brought in, gradually we are coming out of this electricity and energy crisis, and we have now more plants working. We have coal plants, we have hydro plants, and we have solar plants as well, and almost every other project has Chinese investment, and most of them are under CPEC project. Right now there is a big project undergoing on this Kunhar river, the Suki Kinari project. So once that project is completed, then there is Dasu Dam, then there are so many other projects being built by China. So once those are completed, I think we will be getting energy more than our needs, and we will be able to export maybe electricity to other countries like Afghanistan and to other countries as well. So I think we are right on track, and this energy deficiency is also getting removed. So
may I add on one point?
Yeah, please go ahead. Will it actually make Pakistan less dependent on fossil fuels?
Yeah, definitely. I'm making on a point. At the moment, at around $25 to $27 billion, we are importing the crude oil or the oil development in Pakistan. So it is a big, the problem for our foreign reserves, because you have to pay in the dollars, and if 27 billion US dollars is gone only for the energy, how can a country survive? And it's a big chunk of the importment. So presently there is a bad mixture of energy in Pakistan, because at the moment 70-30 is a composition. The 70-30 composition is the clean energy. The clean energy including the hydel energy, the solar energy, the wind energy, they are the clean energy. But now we are at the moment in the 70% of the oil or the furnace oil in Pakistan. And because of these projects, what I have been studied and what I have been informed over there, that in the next 15 years, the energy mixture would be turned around. From at the moment it is 70-30, then we will buy on the 30 and 70. The 30 will be the furnace oil, and definitely it will less our the import budget, and 70 would be our clean energy like wind energy, hydro and so on. But the important thing is we should not rely on these, but we should also understand our problems. The problem is that you see, we have seen every years there is a floods of waters, and if you turn around the value of the water, it is $1 billion, and some say that every flood which is grown from Gilgit to the Indian Ocean, it costs $3 to $5 billion US dollars. The value of the water is $3 to $5 billion, and we are wasting every time. So we need to have the project internally as well on our big rivers. We need to have the due dams, and most importantly, I must say on it that the people of Pakistan, they need the cheap energy, because they can't afford. If you have a 50 rupees unit in Pakistan, and it is very difficult for a common man or even for a salary class, to engage in such an activity. So the government should not focus on it, and I must say we need big dam as well. We only have 3 big dams at the moment. We need, and we must go on the Kalabagh Dam. This is, and at the moment there is a consensus government in Pakistan, all the PDM parties over there. We should realize on it why we are, losing our precious water from the rivers to the oceans. So we need to think on, and this is another line area. And if we go on the the big dams, if you have the cheap energy, it will definitely cost of lessing doing your cost of business over there, and you are more competitive. If you have more have a big cost in your energy, you are not competitive. So for the cost of the competitiveness for them to have a competitive market over the world, we need to have you can say that the cheap energy, and the best is the hydro energy, and we should think over it. And this is also the job of the Planning Commission, the provincial.
So that calls for the better water management.
Water management.
And also tapping in the potential of the hydropower.
Hydropower, right? And to establish the water reservoirs as well. But then if we have a rainy season, so we should focus on there, we should have some tombs over there, and we should use these waters for our. And now another good area is that the agriculture initiative in Pakistan, and people are saying that we have a revolution in 1960, the agriculture revolution. So this is another area which should be applauded and which should be appreciated, that the government of Pakistan is doing with the help
Indeed, we'll
of.
try to understand as how Pakistan can learn from the Chinese experience when it comes to agriculture, as Green Pakistan initiative has been recently launched by the incumbent government. Of course, a great initiative. We are joined in the show by another participant on the phone line, Dr. Vaqar Ahmed, Joint Executive Director at Sustainable Development Policy Institute. Dr. Vaqar, thank you very much for your time, for being with us on Views on News tonight. Really appreciate that. We know that a 2-day international conference regarding CPEC and BRI was held here in Islamabad in order to reflect upon the potential, the prospects and the achievements of this project, and also challenges which are associated with this project. Now, when specifically we talk about the special economic zones, what, according to your view, they might play a role when it comes to generating economic activity and also establishing industry, and while establishing that industry, the transfer of technology from China to Pakistan, and also leading into job creation as well as the poverty alleviation?
Yes, thank you very much for having me at the program. I think your question comes at a very timely moment, just when yesterday we have celebrated the completion of civil work and infrastructure work at the Rashakai Special Economic Zone, which is a CPEC economic zone as we know of it. Now, I think there are 3 important dimensions to your question. First is that why was there a need for the economic zones? The first and the primary reason for this is that economic zones anywhere in the world lead to rationalizing the business costs. The cost of doing business comes down if you are situated within a zone which provides you with certain energy supplies at a certain rate, which provides you with a certain tax structure, and goes to the extent of even providing preferential tax structure. So that is one. Second is that for countries like Pakistan, where businesses struggle to scale up, SEZs provide you that opportunity where scaling up becomes easier due to the advantages of agglomeration, skilled labor being available in that cluster, and due to other effects, positive spillovers of clusterization. The third important reason is that special economic zones allow you to connect with the region. And if I take, for example, the export potential of Faisalabad Economic Zone, or Dhabeji Economic Zone, or Rashakai Economic Zone, all of them are well positioned to trade with their neighboring countries as well. So the regional trade gets enhanced due to these special economic zones, and this is how I think federal as well as the provincial governments come on one page to expedite their efforts and inviting more and more investment in these zones.
Right, Dr. Vaqar, when we look at the list of the completed projects in the energy sector under the banner of CPEC, it gives us a view that it is based on the very idea of quite a diverse energy mix. What sort of dividends do you think are associated with this particular thing when it comes to ensuring the energy needs of the country?
I think we have come a long way in achieving energy security under CPEC, and had it not been for CPEC, we would not have rationalized the number of hours the country was seeing load shedding and outright stoppages of electricity. But of course, the glass is still half full, and there are vast parts of the country where electricity or certain energy supplies still have to be supplied. And it is in the next phases of CPEC or in the next phase of the energy plan where, of course, one would like to see energy security ensured in the future. That's one. Second is that going beyond our own, of course, indigenous production of power, one also has to look at the potential of energy trade. So one should not forget the potential of transboundary energy projects, including CASA 1000 and TAPI, and now with very proactive push to increase trade with Central Asian economies. Now is the time to really expedite these programs. And maybe third and final point would be China's role in the gas market as well. So the fact that Pakistan is now reaching out to very positive and favorable energy deals with the Central Asian countries, which are favorable for China as well, I think one would need to go in this direction a bit further and maybe have contracts which could smooth the energy tariffs for the next 5 to 10 years.
Right, Dr. Vaqar, when we talk about the revitalization of CPEC, the second phase of it, agriculture happens to be one of the key areas in which both the countries have a strong resolve to advance cooperation. When it comes to Pakistan looking forward to increase its yield or productivity when it comes to agriculture sector, what lessons do you think Pakistan can learn from the Chinese experience?
Yes. So I think China has made great progress in agriculture, and part of the reason is the economies of scale which they were able to achieve so quickly. But I think going forward, China is fully cognizant of a global food shortage, and there could be shortages of some food items in China as well in the coming future, and they are cognizant of this fact. And to ensure their food supplies, their buffer stocks, they would like to see good, strong productivity growth in the neighboring countries, most notably Pakistan, who could sort of bridge some shortages when they occur, So they see Pakistan as a very sort of destination where, for example, they could, or the Western China could sort of plug the gap, seasonal gaps, as they arise in their food demand. But the point which the Chinese side is making or asserting, for some time is that these initiatives under CPEC, which relate to agriculture, and if I may say manufacturing as well, these have to be in a B2B mode, in a business-to-business mode, So while up until now, the success of CPEC has been G2G, government-to-government relationship, now is the time that the institutions at the federal level in Pakistan or the provincial governments would really need to put their minds together and respond to this Chinese message where they are saying that our private sector, Chinese private sector in agriculture should get excited about coming to Pakistan, investing in corporate farming in Pakistan, in corporate livestock projects, corporate fisheries projects, even forestry, because, of course, it has a climate dividend as well. And herein lies the future homework for Pakistan, that in order to excite the Chinese private sector to come into agriculture, there are some regulatory reforms which are required urgently. And the establishment of SIFC also points in the same direction, And unless we provide some sort of a one window to Chinese private sector, we may lose this opportunity,
Right, Dr. Vaqar, I'm a Joint Executive Director at Sustainable Development Policy Institute, joining us on the phone line. Thank you very much for being with us on Views on News tonight. We really appreciate that. Mr. Khurram, when we talk about the agriculture sector, the lessons for Pakistani sides to learn from China, and also under the banner of CPEC, the likelihood of the transfer of technology and also bringing in the new seeds in Pakistani agriculture sector in order to improve the yield.
Well, while talking about agriculture, I would just quote one example. Just yesterday, Pakistan's army chief went to Khanewal. There is a model agriculture farm of Pakistan Army, and he inaugurated an initiative which comes under Special Investment Facilitation Council, SIFC. This model farm has been working for some time now, and I have been told that they use Chinese seed over there, and they got 80% more production of crops over there. So China has developed very efficient seeds in most of the crops, and by using that seeds and Chinese technology, I think the dream of achieving an agriculture revolution can come true. And with this this introduction of this SIFC and bringing in new projects, I think Pakistan is already on that track. And but another thing which I would like to mention is that the agriculture industry is the is the most fast industry. Like you put a seed in ground today, and you get yield after 6 months, and you get cash crops after 6 months. So I don't think that this agriculture revolution is very far now, because with CPEC and with SIFC, we have already launched projects, and we are already using Chinese seeds and Chinese technology, and with more assistance, I think we are going to get very good results.
And especially also recently, the Green Pakistan initiative has also been launched.
Yes, of course, that has already been launched, and like I mentioned, this Khanewal project, and then there is another project in Faisalabad, where an agriculture university, Faisalabad, where 4G Foundation has launched an innovation project, and they have used latest technology and startups there to help in agriculture. So I think we are already on track, and what we need is hard work and concentration, dedication. With these three things, I think we can achieve results.
Right, Mr. Ahsaan, as Mr. Khurram has mentioned, that model agriculture farm where Chinese seed has been used gives you 80% more yield as compared to the conventional one. Your understanding of the agricultural sector, bringing in the technology from China, learning from its experience, bringing in new seeds which have the potential to give more yield.
Jawad, the most important thing for a human being is a food. So the food security is the most important area. And like Pakistan, a developing country, and we have a population of more than 240 million in Pakistan, which will go by increase as predicted in 2050, that it will go by the double. So at the moment, Pakistan is the 5th largest populous country over the world, and we need food security in Pakistan. We need a system in Pakistan, and Pakistan, God blessed, is an agriculture-based country. We have a 40% our population attached with the agriculture sectors. More than around 60% population are living in the suburb areas of the villages, in villages or in the big cities, around the cities. So what the China have done, they have miracles. They have done miracles in the agriculture sector, and China at the moment is around 2 billion population, and they have now secured in food security, and they have made so many initiatives over there. Not only they have self-centered in their own food, but they have also exporting to the other countries as well. So the China has done two things. One is they have subsidized the seeds to the farmers, and then they have given the price support to the farmer. So the first thing is that you are providing a good seed and Pakistan at the moment is a low yield country in every crop. You can find even in a wheat, you can find in a paddy, or you can find in a cotton. So we need to have a good technological improved seeds in Pakistan, and China can do a best in this area. And then we need to have a best price support to the farmers, that they have get a support in a way the price what they cultivated, they have on it, see. And then we need to have a market system, because in Pakistan we have a very bad marketing system over there. What the farmer is growing, it has another cost, and what the actual consumer is taking in Pakistan, it is almost in many folds. So we need to eliminate these bridges, and we need to create a more markets in a way that farmers to the actual consumers. So this is the best way that the Pakistan is doing on the agriculture sector, and it is the first time what I have seen in the last many years, that the government is now centered on the agriculture initiatives with the Pakistan Army, and they have planned and they have installed so many projects and working on it in the agriculture universities to promote the seeds, to promote the research. Research is an important area, and we have abundant our research, and because we have abundant our research, there is a problem. Then another area which needs to be addressed, and we need to get the experiment from is the pesticides. This is another gray area in Pakistan where we have the fake or a pesticide over there, and we are giving, the farmers are spending their prices, but there is no results because they are fake and bogus, and simultaneously we have a big import budget as well for these. So the China is our neighboring country. We don't need to have a much travel to listen and to understand their experience. We need to study there, and the China is ready on it, see. And if some country is ready on, then we should accept on it, and simultaneously we need to train our farmers as well, see. Because traditionally we are living in an area where we not readily accepting the transformation. So the technology is, the corporate farming is important, the supply chain is important, the subsidy on the seed sides, and the purified and the excellent seeds on the side, and then finally the price support. So they are all important to make a prosperous and agriculture you can say self-sufficient Pakistan in only way when we need on this energy on the food security in Pakistan.
So a quick comment.
I would like to add one thing.
Please go ahead, Mr.
When you talk about agriculture, you also keep in mind that we have so many cartels in Pakistan's agriculture. So we have to curb those cartels.
That is exactly where I was about to come, actually connecting farmers with the consumers, as Mr. Ahsaan has suggested. Do you think Special Investment Facilitation Council is going to look into that matter, and it's going to facilitate?
Definitely one of the agenda item of the SIFC. I mean, they have identified the 4 areas. They have identified the agriculture, they have identified the information technology, they have identified the information technology, and they have identified the area of defense production. So I must say that
so the one window operation. So when we talk about connecting farmers with the consumer, does it come under the ambit of that one window operation?
Definitely. At the moment, this is a broad idea of the FIC, Special Investment Facilitation Council, and they need to have a permanent secretariat as well. They need to sit, because this secretariat will provide a driving force to other government agencies, because we have the 3 tiers of the government: the federal, the provincial, and the local government, the district government. So we need to coordinate over there, and this SIFC will provide the one window facilitation and will provide as a support to these government organizations to achieve the targets and objectives to make in these areas for the export purposes and for the purposes of the self-sufficient in the food in Pakistan.
Right. Mr. Khurram, please go ahead with you.
Yeah, what I was saying is that we have to fight out these cartels. Like we have the sugarcane cartel, then we have cotton cartel, then we have this wheat cartel, which don't pay much to farmers.
What do you understand out of this? The Special Investment Facilitation Council, is it going to overcome that? That is basically designed, and the objective of it is
I'm following the SIFC since day one, since it was launched, and I have done many stories over it.
It is a newly born baby.
Yeah, I have done many stories over it, and I have not seen anything like this.
So what about one window operation, which is basically
this
aimed
basically
at
facilitation for
overcoming set up of
investment. They are
hurdles?
focusing on investment. They are focusing on bringing in projects. But so far, I have not seen any plans to market the things.
Okay, so
we have
unfortunately we are
one
short
line
of
I
time.
would add.
There are
One
so
line
many things to be discussed.
one line I
Please
would
go
add
ahead.
on the SIFC reference is that we have 3 successful examples recently in Pakistan. We have a good coordination on different government organizations from the federal, provincial and local government by establishing a COVID center, and the World Bank appreciated as well. Then we have a locust strategy as well on the different tier levels, and then all the government departments, they have coordinated under the one umbrella for the FATF purposes, and we achieved it, and Pakistan came out from the grey list.
Right.
So the important would be that the resolve was shown by the government and the Pakistan Army. Definitely the SIFC will be more functional.
Right, unfortunately, we're short of time. There is a long list of issues to be discussed related to CPEC. Now, when we talk about specifically special economic zones, your quick understanding regarding job creation, and also when establishing the industry in special economic zones, transfer technology from China.
Yeah, I think this will create job market in Pakistan, and because Pakistan has potential, and Pakistan has a large population, a young population, and so I think they will definitely get benefited from this from these economic zones. And as we are progressing into second and third phases of CPEC, I think it will result in prosperity of young population.
Right, Mr. Ahsaan, one last quick comment regarding when we talk about the revitalization. We saw Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif visiting China, and there were 4 new corridors which were added. One of those happens to be digital. You already mentioned that around 800 kilometers of optic fibers has been laid. How crucial is that?
It is very important, but because if you need the infrastructure, if you have the factories, you need a road infrastructure. And if you need to go on the information technology, you need to have the fiber optics. The fiber optics is another very the important area for traffic. I mean, if we don't have a fiber optic and there is a problem of fiber optic, and our social media is off, so there is a problem. So simultaneously, all the projects are going in a way, but the most important thing would be that there should be more public awareness on it. People should be more aware about it. And the second thing would be for a citizen point of view, that the phase 2 is very important. So we need to focus on it. We need to have some areas. We should work on the agriculture side. We need to work on the farmer sides. We need to work on the establishment of the new factories in special economic zones, and to improve our governance and transparency. Until we don't have a good governance and transparency in Pakistan, you can't, I mean, the move on. What we have, the obstacles and hurdles, it is because of the transparency issues and the governance issues.
Point well taken. Hafiz, Ahsaan, Ahmed, Senior Analyst, Expert CPEC Affairs. Thank you very much for joining at Views on News tonight. We really appreciate that. Also, we were joined by Mr. Khurram Shahzad, Editor, reporting associated with Urdu News. Mr. Khurram, thank you very much for your time, also for being with us on Views on News tonight. And that is all from today's Views on News. Thank you very much for watching. Till the next episode, take good care of yourselves.